Okay, let's take a look through how to answer CMI Unit 526 AC 1.3. So part of task 1, carrying on through that one. It's the third and final AC for task 1. So let's just leave that on the page for a minute. On the right hand side here I've got our template document again, and again we'll just put some example subheadings in. Really all I'm trying to do there is encourage you to use very clear structure and clear subheadings, so you can choose whatever you like to talk about, but we've copied across the syllabus content and our own recommendations here as well as what's over here. So let's have a look. AC 1.3 says analyse the impact of 2 internal and 2 external factors on leadership practice. There's quite a lot to write about here. You've got a word count of 450 words, so you're going to be writing 100 words for each. So you're probably only going to be making 4 or 5 sentences, 4 or 5 points for each. So again, as usual with these, let's just kind of look at the detail a minute. It says analyze. The command verb is analyze. So we need to kind of pull this apart a little bit in terms of stating maybe in a sort of meaningful level of detail what the impact of these factors is on leadership practice. When it's talking about leadership practice, it means you know, so please think about work-based examples. What is your leadership practice? You know, feel free to analyze other leaders as well. But actually, if you're a team leader, if you're a manager or a head of department, you know, level 5, it's quite a broad appeal, this unit, then, you know, think about that, or maybe your line manager or your directors or something if that's relevant. But you know, please just make sure you're kind of personalizing this and using your own work examples where possible for all of these actually. Okay, so what's the impact? 2 internal and 2 external. Internal means within your organization. So choose 2 factors. External obviously therefore means things outside of your organization, and this is one of those questions really where it's wide open. You know, you could write about almost anything here, so you might want to choose things that are interesting to you, or choose things you already know about and feel passionate about, or you could choose stuff that challenge yourself, stretch yourself a little bit, and choose some factors that you don't know so much about. So if we just keep things simple for a minute, if we're going to analyse the impact of an internal factor, one obvious thing to think about maybe is the structure. If we think about the structure of your organisation, so reflect on what are you doing? Are you working from home? Are you in the office? Are the support functions remote, but you're in a production environment, so you've got operatives on a shop floor, or you work in retail and again you've got people on the shop floor, etc. So what's the management structure, and what's the nature of the work, and what is the impact of that on your leadership? So what does that mean for your leadership? And remember, in terms of analysing it, you've only got a few points that you can make. I already mentioned that. So if we take something like structure, what's the impact on your leadership practice? If we're managing remotely, for example, then you're going to have quite a lot to write about there, because in terms of leading people remotely, all the same things still apply. You know, it's still about supporting people, it's still about stretching people in terms of their performance and the quality of their work and so on. And that's through effective communication, but the normal kind of structure isn't there. You know, we're not kind of having a quick chat on the way to the meeting like we would like if we worked in the building together, as it were. So that's kind of different. So there's lots there that might be useful for you. So 2 internal factors. What else they got on there? So we could talk about specific policies and procedures. You could think about maybe some cultural dimensions. So you could drop in something like Johnson and Scholl's cultural web. That might be interesting. Go and have a look at that on Management Direct. Take a wander through it. Again, it's made up of quite a number of different factors or components, so you're just going to have to choose maybe one or two. But you could put the diagram in, the figure from what you've read, the model on Management Direct, put the reference in with the date, the authors, and so on. And then just say, from the figure above, let's comment on, let's analyse this bit and this bit. So that should give you a couple of internal factors. So it says national cultures, customs and language, organisational resources, such as staff or technology or finances or whatever. So let's say physical resources. You don't have the equipment that you need. You've come up with a new product. It's a big development on the previous version of that product that you now are going to manufacture, let's say, and so we need different machinery, or the building's not big enough. What does that do to your leadership practice? So it's a good opportunity to reflect. It's not a reflection though, it's an analysis, so please bear that in mind. But hopefully that is some useful ideas for you. And then the same applies to external factors. So again, this is so much to choose from here. What external factors, again, personalise it in terms of your own leadership practice. What outside of the business is really having an impact on you right now? That's the question to answer. Make this kind of valuable and meaningful for yourself. So we could talk about, for example, a change of government. So it could be a change of regulation, change of legislation or something like that. They're very big external driving factors. They may drive a new product, or they may drive a change in the kind of way that your business works. Fine. We're not talking about that though. It's what's the impact, what does all of that mean for you in terms of the way that you lead? We get a big new client. How does that change how you lead? You change your supply chain. You had let's say you had an in-house function, and you've outsourced it. What does that do to your leadership practice, that you've now got an external company providing an internal service for IT or supply chain or something like that? So yeah, it's quite a straightforward question, I think, and the analysis needs to be just kind of picking it apart a little bit. No conclusion required or anything like that. So yeah, I hope that helps. So choose some factors, reflect on them, write a little list, and then turn it into some nice paragraphs. Make sure you've got a reference or two if you can, and bring it to life with some examples.